widely regarded as one of the scariest films of all time. The Exorcist, directed by William Friedkin, set a new benchmark for horror cinema. The film follows the harrowing story of a young girl, Regan McNeil, who becomes possessed by a demonic entity, and the desperate attempts of two priests to save her through an exorcism. What sets The Exorcist apart is its unrelenting atmosphere of dread. Friedkin's direction imbues every frame with a palpable tension, from the quiet, eerie moments in Regan's bedroom to the explosive climax of the exorcism itself. The film's use of practical effects, including Regan's levitation and head-spinning sequences, adds a visceral realism that still holds up decades later. The movie's sound design is another key factor in its terror. The unsettling use of silence, interspersed with sudden, jarring noises, keeps viewers on edge. Mike Oldfield's haunting Tubular Bells theme is iconic, amplifying the film's eerie tone. Beyond its technical achievements, The Exorcist delves into deep psychological and theological themes. It explores the fragility of faith, the battle between good and evil, and the terrifying notion of losing control over one's body and mind. Linda Blair's performance as Regan is nothing short of extraordinary, as she transforms from an innocent child to a vessel of unspeakable horror. The film's impact on audiences was unprecedented, with reports of viewers fainting, vomiting, and even fleeing theaters in terror. Decades later, The Exorcist remains a chilling exploration of the unknown and a testament to the enduring power of horror. Ari Aster's Hereditary is a modern horror masterpiece that redefined the genre with its psychological depth and unrelenting dread. The film begins as a family drama, following the aftermath of a matriarch's death, but quickly spirals into a nightmarish descent into grief, trauma, and supernatural terror. What makes Hereditary so terrifying is its ability to unsettle viewers on multiple levels. Aster's meticulous direction creates an oppressive atmosphere, with lingering shots and deliberate pacing that build an almost unbearable tension. The film's use of lighting and shadow is masterful, turning even mundane household settings into spaces of impending doom. Toni Collette's performance as Annie Graham is a tour de force, capturing the character's unraveling psyche with raw intensity. Her portrayal of a mother grappling with loss, guilt, and fear adds a deeply human element to the horror, making it all the more disturbing. The film's supernatural elements are deeply intertwined with its exploration of family dynamics and inherited trauma. From cryptic symbols to shocking reveals, Hereditary keeps viewers guessing and deeply unnerved. Its final act, which plunges into full-blown occult horror, is both shocking and inevitable, leaving audiences haunted long after the credits roll. Stanley Kubrick's The Shining is a towering achievement in horror, blending psychological terror with surreal, nightmarish imagery. Based on Stephen King's novel, the film follows Jack Torrance, an aspiring writer who becomes the winter caretaker of the isolated Overlook Hotel, where supernatural forces drive him to madness. Kubrick's meticulous craftsmanship is evident in every aspect of the film. The use of the Steadicam to create smooth, flowing shots enhances the sense of unease, as the camera glides through the hotel's labyrinthine hallways. The Overlook itself becomes a character, its vast, empty spaces and haunting decor exuding a chilling, oppressive presence. Jack Nicholson's portrayal of Jack Torrance is iconic, capturing the character's descent into insanity with terrifying intensity. Shelley Duvall's performance as Wendy Torrance adds a layer of vulnerability, as she navigates her husband's growing instability and the hotel's sinister influence. The film's imagery is unforgettable, from the river of blood pouring from the elevator to the ghostly twins in the hallway. Kubrick's deliberate ambiguity leaves much of the horror open to interpretation, making The Shining a film that continues to inspire debate and analysis. The psychological terror of The Shining lies in its ability to blur the line between reality and madness. It delves into themes of isolation, familial breakdown, and the dark corners of the human mind, creating a horror experience that lingers long after the film ends. Tobe Hooper's The Texas Chainsaw Massacre is a relentless assault on the senses that redefined horror with its raw, unfiltered intensity. The film follows a group of friends who encounter a family of cannibals in rural Texas, led by the iconic, chainsaw-wielding Leatherface. What makes the Texas Chainsaw Massacre so terrifying is its visceral realism. Shot on a low budget, the film's grainy visuals and documentary-style camera work create a sense of authenticity that makes the horror feel disturbingly real. The oppressive heat and desolation of the Texas landscape add to the film's unrelenting tension. Hooper's direction masterfully builds suspense, often withholding explicit violence and instead relying on sound and suggestion to evoke fear. The film's sound design, with its jarring, mechanical noises and screams, is deeply unsettling, amplifying the sense of chaos and panic. Leatherface and his family are some of the most memorable villains in horror, embodying a primal, almost animalistic menace. Their grotesque behavior and twisted sense of family dynamics add an extra layer of horror, making the film's terror deeply personal. Despite its reputation for graphic violence, much of the film's horror is psychological, leaving much to the viewer's imagination. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre is a landmark in horror cinema, influencing countless films and proving that sometimes the most terrifying monsters are disturbingly human. David Robert Mitchell's It Follows is a modern horror gem that combines a unique premise with a haunting, dreamlike atmosphere. The film follows Jay, a young woman who becomes the target of a relentless, shape-shifting entity after a sexual encounter. The creature can take the form of anyone and only stops when its victim is dead. The brilliance of It Follows lies in its simplicity. The concept of an unstoppable, slow-moving force taps into primal fears, creating a sense of inevitability and helplessness. Mitchell's direction amplifies this tension, using wide-angle shots and long takes to create an omnipresent sense of dread. The film's retro aesthetic, inspired by 1980s horror, adds to its unsettling atmosphere. The minimalist score by Disasterpiece, with its pulsating synths, heightens the film's tension and reinforces its eerie tone. Micah Monroe's performance as Jay captures the vulnerability and resilience of a character facing an unimaginable threat. The film's exploration of themes like sexual guilt, mortality, and the loss of innocence gives it a deeper emotional resonance, elevating it beyond a typical horror movie. It Follows is a masterclass in atmosphere and pacing, proving that horror doesn't need excessive gore or jump scares to be effective. Its unique premise and execution make it one of the most original and terrifying films of recent years.